Welcome back to Second Breakfast and our ongoing music discussions, bringing you the best thoughts, theories, and literary analysis this side of Arlington, Texas.
In this episode, we will be discussing the Long Live the Black Parade tour, which is, of course, the latest tour from My Chemical Romance. We were very fortunate to be able to go see this show. We'll be breaking down the iconography of the show, kind of going through our main impressions of the show, and of course, we'll do a deep dive on the entire 25-song set list. Let's get into it.
So let's start with some first impressions. We've had like a week to chew on this, and because we're very normal people and not psychotic podcasters, we haven't talked about this at all.
And also, this was in Arlington, Texas, which is 3 hours from where we live. So we had an entire 3-hour drive back where we couldn't say a single word about the show. It was so
We just ran through the band's entire discography in silence.
Just like quietly nodding, like silent, like tears streaming down my face silently.
Yeah, this was a pilgrimage to get there.
It was. What a journey. And like, just one of the most, like, I don't know, I had to put so much energy into going to this show, but it was 100% worth it.
Oh, yeah.
It was so much fun.
So we're coming at this from very different angles, where I've loved this band and been fascinated and obsessed with this band since before Black Parade came out. So What is that, 2003?
Yeah, four, like
around that time. Yeah. So that's more than 20 years.
When you were a wee babe.
And you got into this music a couple years ago with equal obsession.
I would say about 10 years ago, but yeah.
You think?
Yeah.
Well, here, you tell your story with
Sure,
this.
I was in college, because I remember I was saying this, this is one thing we could talk about in the car on the way home, was I remember the first time I listened to the entirety of the Black Parade was in your dorm room. You had it on vinyl, you put it on your little Crosby turntable, and we listened to the entire thing start to finish, and my mind was blown. I had, of course, heard, the Welcome to the Black Parade, the song, when I was a kid, when it came out, and I remember really liking it and thinking, yeah, it's a really great song, I love that, but I never just bothered to dive into the band's other stuff. I was and still am, like, uncommonly terrible at getting into bands. I just like don't think to or try to do it unless just the bug really, really gets me. It's you who leads me into stuff, which is sort of the story here too.
All good relationships are about a division of labor. So I am in the hunter-gatherer role where I go and forage for new music and then I bring it back to you for your perusal.
And you do a wonderful job, because I fell hard into this album very specifically. I, of course, then went and listened to their other albums, and I liked all of them for different reasons, but the Black Parade is still like my number one. And it's like, I think I've said this before on the show. I know I said it in real life. The Black Parade is, I think, one of the greatest albums of all time, like of anybody ever. I think it is a masterpiece. I think it's fantastic, and I am obsessed with it. And so I have loved this band, for about 10, 15 years, but not 20, 25 years like you have. So yeah, we're coming at it from different places. It's sentimental to both of us, but much more so for you. And but my other thing for me is that I tie my love of this band and this album to you, which is interesting. Not only because you exposed me to it, but also because of the themes, and I know how important it was for you growing up. And so like I think about that a lot too.
Yeah, I mean, just as a shorthand, this is episode 545 that we've done of this show.
Oh my God. Incredible.
And I would say, I don't know, 2/3 of those have been in some capacity talking about death. We've done a lot of chapter by chapter discussions through books, and a lot of those fantasy books happen to be about death. And there's no work of art that is more about death than the Black Parade.
Absolutely.
So I think that's part of why, and obviously that's an obsession thematically of both of ours. It's an interest, maybe is a better way to say it.
Yeah.
We're obsessed with death.
I would say we're interested in death.
Yeah, very much so. And I think me in my creative work as well. So that's part of why the Black Parade is so resonant for me. But also, and I've talked about this on plenty of other episodes, my whole childhood and my mom getting sick and cancer and all that and dying, and that's throughout this album as well. There's a song called Cancer, followed by a song called Mama. So I honestly, in my adolescence, I felt like I lived this album.
Right.
Where I loved it before the cancer thing, throughout and after. So I've aged with this work of art and continued to think about a lot of its themes and grindstones for almost my entire life, or my entire conscious life.
Yeah,
the first few years,
for sure.
You're just a jelly bean.
Yeah, nobody remembers that part. Yeah.
So yeah, I have a long history with this album as well, and it's not a better or worse thing. I think we bring equal passion to this, and at this point, we both know every note of this album.
Yeah,
every
100%.
inflection, every detail.
Yes, absolutely.
Which honestly, and maybe this is a good place to start, that puts a tremendous amount of pressure on seeing the album in its entirety performed live when the artists are 20 years older than they were when they released not just the album, but the impeccable live album, The Black Parade Is Dead.
Right.
Where they performed the entire album in Mexico City.
I know. I can't imagine the pressure that they must have felt. I mean, and I know that the other thing part here is like the album that came out after Black Parade, which was Danger Days, was not nearly as successful as Black Parade. And there was, I think, a lot of complaint among the fandom in general of this isn't nearly as good. What is this? And I totally get that critique. There are lots of songs I love on Danger Days, and like I think it's a great album, but it's just nothing compared to Black Parade. And after that is when they broke up, right?
Yes.
And
after Conventional Weapons. But yes.
Yes, but that was like sort of a different thing and like not really official. And so like I think the band largely falls apart in the wake of the success of Black Parade. Is that a right way to characterize that?
Yeah, I definitely. But as someone who owns one of the blue jackets, like the one Gerard wears in the Danger Days era, I'm a big fan of that era. But I'm also a huge fan of Three Cheers. And I think you can see the evolution of this band more than most other bands, where even if you just listen to Bullets, their first album, it's rough and raw and punky and it feels like it's in a dirty basement club.
It's very dirty and messy, yeah.
And then you see the production and the strength artistically of the whole band develop on Three Cheers. And then it feels like they hit the absolute perfect mountaintop. You can see the building blocks of how they got there, but Black Parade is the summit, it feels like, of
peak.
their creative lives.
Yeah.
And then Danger Days is still good, but it feels like a step down. So if you're looking at it on a chart, it's up, 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 a little down.
Right.
So Black Parade is the mountaintop. And I think that's true. I've never met an MCR fan who didn't feel that way.
Yeah, no one's like, no, my favorite is Danger Days. Like, no one's saying that, you know?
Yes, of course. I'm sure it's terrifying. In the same way, people will immediately kill each other to buy a ticket to this tour, which they did, and we had to fight to get tickets at all.
The most stressful day of my life was buying these tickets.
But I'm sure it's equally stressful for the band.
Yeah.
To tour this album.
Of course, yeah. And again, you're 20 years older, so you don't have the energy that you had when you were, 25, 26, playing this album live, and now you're in your 40s and you have a kid. Like,
they all have kids,
it's going to be a different thing. And I think maybe that's where we should start. I think that change, that age, that passage of time was present in the show. Like, watching this, I mean, it was a euphoric experience. I adored it. But also, you could tell, yeah, these guys are in their 40s. Like, I wasn't watching, like, the other day. So now that I've been, like, thinking about MCR a lot, I went back. By the way, this entire show was on YouTube. So, like, I went back and watched it. My phone now knows that I'm into MCR. And so it's been feeding me a lot of stuff. And I came across a video from like 2006 of them playing Welcome to the Black Parade on SNL. And just the energy that Gerard has in the first 10 seconds of that performance was like miles beyond what he had through this whole 2-hour show. And it's not that he was low energy. They weren't. Like, this band can still fucking do it. Like, they were great.
Yeah.
But it's different. It's a different thing.
Of course.
And part of our other like pre-show work of preparing to go see this was like we went back and watched every single music video they've ever put out, because I hadn't seen a lot of them, and like that's really important for the lore and everything, and they're just amazing and fun. And the energy in there too is just different. Like, they're just different people now, and so the energy is different. And that was not disappointing, but it was like, oh yeah, I guess that makes sense.
There's a bit of an adjustment.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think it was more apparent in some songs than others. Later, when we go through the entire set list, I think we can get into the minutia there. But I think this might be a good place to talk about the conceit of this tour and this show, because this wasn't just... the Black Parade was such a production. Every era of this band is a production. Whether, I mean, usually they're in some sort of character as an entire band. They've got the costumes, they've got the change of costumes,
it's all
the set
very
decoration.
Theatrical. Yeah.
And this show is broken in two. So the second half is them moving to a smaller stage, normal clothes, no makeup. Together, they just look like a band at a house party.
Yeah, they're not in character. They're just like themselves playing music for a crowd.
And
it was great.
It's them doing a 10-song set that felt like seeing them in a grungy basement, and that was phenomenal.
It was so great. Versus the first part, which is them playing the entirety of the whole album, The Black Parade, with this whole theatrical costume like story happening,
which means makeup, which means costumes, which means side characters like the clown who blew himself up and the opera singer and the cellist
and the people that they all executed on stage
and the dictator and all the video behind them and the pyrotechnics and the fire and Gerard dying and the entire all of not just in character but character arcs throughout this whole thing.
Absolutely.
But it was not, I mean, despite some similarities between the like band leader kind of stripy costumes they had for the Black Parade, there was a similarity in iconography here, but it was very much not just the Black Parade again.
Yeah, of course. Like, why would they do the same thing again? It makes sense.
No, but even within the world, the lore, that tour, which lasted 3 years on the Black Parade, ended with that Mexico City show, which was released as a live show, which ends with him triumphantly shouting, "The Black Parade is dead."
Yeah.
So them coming back here, they're in different characters, and there's this whole weird thing going on with this kind of Russia coded. Do you think that's fair?
I was thinking it's very Soviet coded.
Soviet, yes, exactly. A dictatorship.
Yeah.
And the dictator is there in person in a big throne watching the show. And some of the screens above the band performing are just his hands.
Yes, the entire time. So the guy is sitting kind of off stage. You can't see him on the stage, but he's sitting and watching. And there's a camera on the whole time. So there are like screens like way up high in the stadium. Like there are other screens that show shots of Gerard and the band and other things going on, but like way up high at all times there's like a continuous feed of him just sitting there. You don't even see his face. You kind of just see his hands in like his lap, and he's just watching the whole time. And I loved it. I thought it really gave it this like creepy sense of like this like very big brother like being watched, like being observed, like because I would find myself like really enjoying the show, losing myself in it, you know, enjoying every part of it. And then I would look up and go, oh, fuck, that guy's still watching, you know?
And he'll occasionally tap a finger or give a few claps at the end of a song. And he's got the Soviet World War II kind of hat on.
Yeah.
That weird kind of flat brim thing. And the Dr. Strangelove glasses.
Yes.
And he's supposed to be as intimidating as possible.
And actually at our show specifically, because it was in Texas, he was wearing a black cowboy hat, which was really charming. I really liked that.
And he's supposed to be the dictator of this fictional Soviet-coded place called Draag, and it's spelled D-R-A-A-G. And the idea is that this Black Parade, this sort of band, is performing under duress for the dictator.
Yes.
And you see different moments throughout the show where it seems like handlers who are working for the dictator come out and kind of rough up the band.
Yeah, or they give them direction, or they give them notes.
Or they slap the shit out of Gerard. Like, it's a lot. It's very much under duress.
Yes.
So that's the conceit. And then when that show ends and Gerard dies and it's a whole thing.
And all the members are taken off stage and they got, things over their eyes. You know.
We see the nuclear bomb shoot out and everything blows up and the clown kills himself. Then that part of the show ends and the band comes out normal and it's Gerard and there are just 4 guys from New Jersey who are just chatting in between songs and they're out of character.
And they don't even address the Draag stuff. Like it's like it didn't happen.
But for us, what do we make of this Draag conceit? Like, is this a creative thing? Is this just to keep them interested? Is it a way to justify touring this album again? What do you make of this?
I know. I've been trying to think about it. And I think there are lots of layers. I think one is them just having fun. They like to do theatrical shit. It's really fun. And also, if you don't know, they did all this great, in anticipation of the tour, there have been all these great videos on their YouTube channel and Instagram and stuff. And
the show started with the national anthem of Draag, with a whole music video of the wheat fields.
Yeah,
and the
we were asked
and
to stand up and sing the national anthem. It was hilarious.
And before the show, there were all of these flashing images of citizens who looked like they'd been kidnapped and kind of disappeared by this regime, and there were all these rules about what you're allowed to do during the concert that were very much tongue-in-cheek. But it was the whole thing was baked into this conceit.
Absolutely. It was like they were fully locked in. So I think part of it is them having fun, but then I think there's certainly a just like political commentary angle to this for sure, just in terms of how things are going in America right now. And even like when Gerard first came on stage and he was addressing the crowd, he said he called us America. Like, I have good news, America. Like, he didn't say Draag. Like he wasn't saying, like it wasn't like we were in Draag. It was more like he had come to America and like he was addressing America specifically. He said America many times. And so I thought that was telling.
And he had to introduce and pay homage to the dictator.
Exactly.
And thank him for this like privilege of performing. Yeah.
And he had this like funny accent, grand immortal dictator. It was very funny.
But most of the time he seemed scared shitless.
Exactly. Yeah. And we'll get into his performance in a second. But there was that. But I think the other element is, I wonder if it's sort of a commentary about, or just a meditation on the fandom and like where the band sits societally and how we think of them, and sort of like, it is them coming back to play the entirety of the Black Parade under duress, sort of like because the fans demanded it. I think that's more what it is. More than like a pointed societal critique. I think that's there.
I totally agree. I think these are the two chief interpretations that at least I've been able to come up with.
Yeah.
One is political allegory, Trump term, that whole thing.
Yeah.
The second, because they weren't doing the Draag thing. I mean, they haven't been doing that since they got back together in 2019. It's not like this is a 5-year timeline.
No, this is for
recent.
the tour.
Sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The second interpretation, which I agree with more, is kind of this dancing monkey critique.
Yeah.
And I think the way I was trying to, I don't know, make my way through this iconography and understand it a little better was to ask the question, who is the dictator? Because obviously you can jump to any number of political figures, but I think it's more interesting because we know how much this band cares about the fans. They have lore, they have detail, they have appreciation on the level of like all the Taylor Swift nuggets that you dig through.
Yeah, right.
So I don't think it's as mean as it's going to sound.
Right.
But I think the fans are the dictator.
That's what I think too.
I think we're the dictator.
Yeah, especially with the screens. Like I said, it feels kind of Big Brothery, but it's also like the screens, and this is just what our stadium was like. I don't know what it's like in other stadiums, but the screens are basically embedded. They feel like they're embedded into the crowd. Like they're embedded into the, like if you look up, do you see other people up on the balconies and the screens are like right there. So it to me feels like we are, especially like putting the cowboy hat on him, like we're in Texas, like, so this is you, the Texas fans. That's how it feels to me. Yeah. I think we are that dictator demanding that they come back and play the whole album, because we've talked about this before. The reason you kind of have to play the entire album of the Black Parade is because it is this like opera, this like...
It's a narrative. It's a Broadway show.
You can't like just play 3 songs. Like it would be so weird if they just came back for like a reunion tour and they played greatest hits from everything. They couldn't do that. I mean, they could, but the fans would not like that. I would not like that. I would be disappointed if we only got 4 songs out of the 13 that are on the Black Parade. Like you have to play each and every one of them in order. And it's weird if you don't. And so maybe that's part of the, like, they have to play it because we demanded that they come back from the dead and they play it, The
prospect of coming back 20 years after your hit album and playing the whole album is scary enough. Layer on top of that the fact that they never did shows this long during their original run as a band. Mm-hmm. I mean, the Black Parade is Dead show, I believe, was just the Black Parade.
Yeah, they didn't play anything else.
And they were leaving it all on the field there, doing that for an hour.
Yeah.
So now they're doing basically 2 sets. They're doing 25 songs instead of 13. Mm-hmm. So you're doing double the set list 20 years later, and you've been on the bench for a while because they broke up for a while and all did other things. So you're a little rusty. It's been 20 years, and you have to do double the work and sound like you did at your zenith of your career.
Right.
I think that all of that physicalized and rolled into one big anxious snowball, that's the dictator, that's us.
Yes.
And I wonder creatively if it helps them, meaning Gerard, get out of their own heads and their own way by rolling up all of this anxiety into a narrative.
I wonder about that too, yeah.
I imagine it makes it more doable to be playing a character through this thing.
Especially if you are genuinely feeling afraid about playing this, for the first, after 20 years.
Or just that you don't want to let people down. Like, there's another way to spin it of just, I don't want to disappoint people, especially the most diehard fans who have ridden with us how many years after our last album and after our breakup. Like, it's not necessarily a bad thing. A lot of it can be good-hearted and concern-based.
Sure, yeah. And so I think this is where it's a good point to talk about Gerard's and the rest of the band's, like, energy and performance during the Black Parade set. Like, watching it, I mean, again, I had an amazing time and I loved it and I cried and it was great. But still, like, especially going back and watching the show on YouTube where I can like sort of see past my own, you know, in it experience I was having, and I can really like hear his vocals and just like see his performance really well. He's kind of low energy, and he's not hitting a lot of the high notes because they're impossible to hit. His voice was incredible in his peak, and it's still very good now. But like, imagine trying to do that whole show like as he does it on the album
every week.
You can't. Nobody could do that, especially not a guy in his late 40s, especially when he hasn't been like actively singing for years, you know. And so part of it is they're tired and they're old, but I think it's also
that's not a nice way to say
but
it.
I'm saying like they're older and they might be a little bit tired, but I don't think it's just that. I think it's also a character choice. I think they are sort of performing at this lower level, looking kind of afraid, almost kind of dead, because it's a character choice. They're being forced to perform this.
I want to piggyback that because I totally agree. And I don't think that the character and the narrative choices are to mask their age.
No, I don't think that
I think it's
either.
a way to reflect on and roll in the passage of time.
Yes.
Because any subject matter that's about death is inherently about the passage of time.
Yeah.
And time outlasting the individual. So the fact that they are maybe half a step slower, when they finish this whole album, Gerard comes back on, even though he died, comes back on, the whole band comes back on, and they start over.
Yeah.
And they start with the first song of the album, The End. Or maybe, no, he dies after that. No, he dies during the reprise of the album. I'm sorry.
No,
it's
you're
been
right.
a week.
It took me a minute, yeah.
So yeah, after they finish Famous Last Words, which is the last song in the album, they immediately start rolling into the next performance.
Yes.
There's this like conveyor belt thing.
Oh, we gotta do it again.
Dancing monkeys.
Yes.
That there are puppets and they have to do the next performance. And that's where he's killed and shanked and the clown.
And then they're all taken off and then they do the blood hidden track and the clown blows himself up. Yeah.
His vocal on that reprise of The End is intentionally almost no energy. And you could hear that in the YouTube version as well as the version
I didn't
we
get
heard
that
at
far.
the
I
show.
didn't finish it. I then skipped ahead to the second set.
It's I mean, it's like air leaking out of a balloon.
Interesting. Okay.
And I think that's part of this conceit of like resurrecting this band and this kind of collective character of the Black Parade to do this thing over and over again. The fact that we're gesturing at that repetition and that reanimation at each show makes it a narrative choice.
Yeah.
And that rolls it in and explains it for me.
Yes. Yeah. I think I don't think, you're right. It wasn't to mask a lower energy because they demonstrated in the second set, they can bring that energy back. They are much higher energy. Gerard is hitting, I think, more high notes in that second set. I mean, partly I think just like tactically he can because he doesn't have to perform a whole other set after this. He has a week to recover. But they're proving that they are not like that. They can bring that energy, but they choose not to as a sort of character meditation choice in that first set.
I was impressed with how many high notes he did go for. I felt like he was going for it the whole show. I think it was just to varying levels of success. But to expand that out to the rest of the band, because some of them do backup vocals, but mostly they're just playing their instruments, bass, guitar, drums, that whole thing. Lead guitar, second guitar. I thought they were all incredible.
They're very
I don't
good.
think any of them lost a step at all because of the four of the main guys here. My standout, I was expecting it to be Gerard.
Yeah.
But my favorite guy to watch through this show was Ray. Ray Toro with the big curly hair.
He was great.
And he was the lead guitar. And every time he just sweeps the song into a flyaway guitar solo. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, he was like, oh, he's still got it.
And he's great. So good on the records, in the studio recordings. But it was real rock star stuff. And you could tell he just had it. In the same way, and we talked about this a couple weeks ago, but when I got to see Black Sabbath on their last tour, you could see Ozzy was fighting to keep some of that energy.
Yeah.
But the rest of the band, like Tony, the guitarist, he was unbelievable. And like cool as a cucumber.
Yeah.
But just shredding.
And I don't think that's like a character judgment of like, oh, well, Gerard is worse than than Ray. It's more like that's a different kind of skill. And like, especially we were talking about this the other day, is when your only job on stage is to sing, you don't get to sort of like, focus on playing a guitar or like whatever instrument you're playing. You just, in the moments where you're not singing, you still got to be performing. So what do? You dance around the stage, you run around the stage, you like point at the instruments, you do some crowd work, but that takes a lot of physical energy. Like I'm thinking about like Hayley Williams, who is a master at that. She's so good at that. She occasionally will play piano, but she mostly is all she's doing is singing. And so therefore she's also like doing a full dance number for 2 hours, and she's so good at that. But she's younger than Gerard, and she's been doing this since she was like 15. And so it's a different kind of thing. And so it's a lot of work. And to do that for 2.5 hours every week when you're in your 40s, that's really hard.
But lest we give the wrong impression here, this was still like a Broadway level production.
I know,
and they were all giving it at a level that was stunning and absorbing. And you could feel the effort and the strain and the power of the performance, even with Gerard. I mean, you cannot take your eyes off it. He's an incredible frontman, an incredible performer.
Absolutely.
The range is still stunning. But yeah, for someone who encyclopedically knows the earlier stuff, you can notice a little bit the passage of time.
Yeah, certainly.
To go back to the lore thing a little bit, because I was there through all of Danger Days and learning the lore of Battery City and this whole thing that they did in the Wasteland and the guys with the masks and all that.
Yeah.
I find it interesting that this whole Draag era is a whole new world that they're building out. But it's not like it's totally divorced from what has come before. There have always been a little bit of connective tissue, a little bit of Easter eggs, pulling the whole lore together. But I would say this iconography, this whole Draag thing, is expanding the Black Parade ethos. I see. Yeah.
I
feel like it's all tied into, because the only songs they're performing through the Draag thing are the Black Parade album in full. And I was noticing some lyrics that popped out to me during that Black Parade set list that felt tied in to some of the weird Draag energy.
Oh, okay.
So I wrote down 2 of those.
Interesting.
The first one is from Famous Last Words, "Watch all my heroes sell a car on TV."
Oh, and then they give a car as a prize to the survivor of the executions in the middle of the show.
Right.
Interesting.
So that feels like it's building off of it. And again, if creatively they want to make this more interesting for themselves, if they're going to spend another year or whatever touring the Black Parade, might as well explain the world and have some fun with it.
Yeah.
But the other one I think is maybe more rich. And this is from The End, which is not just the first song in the album that they're performing after they show you all this weird Draag shit for an hour, but it's the only song they play twice, given the reprise at the end. And that line is, "Here's my resignation, and I'll serve it in drag."
Yeah, I did think about that. Yeah.
And there's always been some gender stuff in MCR. So I've always taken that line at face value.
Yeah.
But the voice he did when Gerard was introducing the Dictator was Draag. You know, he did the whole voice, that whole Soviet thing. But if it's just 4 guys from New Jersey, you'd pronounce it drag.
Yes, you would. Yeah.
So maybe that's rolling in this whole drag thing directly into the Black Parade.
That's
Do you
really
think there's
interesting.
anything there?
I think that's not a coincidence. They could have named this fictitious place anything, and they chose Draag, which looks a lot like drag, which is like a well-known word from one of their songs, and also is an idea that we're thinking about a lot culturally. Like, I think there's something
And
there.
if you take that line in total isolation, "Here's my resignation, and I'll serve it in drag." My resignation is my retirement and the band breaking up.
Yes.
And now they're serving that like afterlife. Once they've broken up and stopped making new music, they're serving that out in Draag, resurrecting this thing over and over again.
Interesting.
So Draag becomes the purgatory after the creative zenith of the Black Parade era.
And they sing that twice.
Yes.
To like really highlight the
bookmark.
the repetitive, the
bookend.
And the cyclical nature of it. I think that's great analysis. I like that a lot. Yeah, that makes total sense.
So let's move into the set list, unless you have anything else here.
No, let's do it, because if we don't get into it now, we never will. Let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable that we got a full Broadway level production and a full club show, because at this point, those are the 2 things I would want from this band.
And we got them both.
And
baby.
we got them both.
It was so great.
It felt like a buffet of just every dream I've had since 2004.
It was pretty great.
Unbelievable. And just to zoom out and look at the set list as a whole for a second, 25 songs, and of the shows that they've done on this tour, we got the best variety.
I think
we got the best show.
I think
statistically.
yeah, our second set list was so good. So I can't wait to get into that.
So we got songs from every major album, meaning we got a song from Bullets. We got a couple songs from Three Cheers for Sweet Revenge. We got all of Black Parade.
Of course.
We got a song or two from Danger Days.
We got 2 from Danger Days.
Yes, 2. We got a song from Conventional Weapons, which was, of course, that series of 2-song singles that they released as they were breaking up, which, rumor has it, was the 5th album that they scrapped because they didn't feel like it was big. Or, it was a project that didn't come together as a full album, so they released these singles. And the last song here was a song from their scrapped 5th full album that was falling apart at the time where the band broke up, which was The Paper Kingdom.
And also we got a Black Parade B-side.
Yes, we did.
Let's not forget that.
Yes, and that's another one. But we got that last song, War Beneath the Rain, which was from Paper Kingdom.
Yes.
Second time that's ever been performed live. So an absolute moonshot dream set list here.
Yes.
And we're going to go song by song through the entire thing.
Okay, let's do it.
At the beginning, we have Over Fields, the national anthem of Draag, just to include that, because technically it's part of it.
Sure. Okay, we did get that. We all sang it together. It was great.
And then we go into the end. First song on Black Parade.
Which, like, we've been imagining and so excited because we know that's what's going to kick off the entire show, and it was like so anticipated. That was the first time I cried, was when that song. It wasn't right when it started playing. It was probably a verse or 2 in. I think, and this is one thing I love. We kind of had this discussion before the show. This is one thing I love about live performances is the way the audience participates. When you're in this collective experience of everybody loving and watching the same thing you're loving and watching, and everybody is immediately singing along. And part of me is annoyed by that because your preference is similar to mine, which is I want to hear the performer. Like, I'm here to hear Gerard, not the crowd. But they had him loud enough that you could hear him just fine. And I loved hearing the crowd singing along. And that song is like, it starts out, slow and gentle, and it builds and builds and builds. And then, of course, goes into...
it's an introduction.
Into Dead.
I mean, it's a song in its own right, but it's also very much an opener for the album.
Exactly. It's almost an overture,
Yes.
And so I just had this moment of, oh fuck, I'm really here. This is amazing.
Yes.
And so I cried during that, and that was really fun.
Yes, I think this song, the performance of this song kind of is representative of the whole experience I had, in that it was completely overwhelming. It was overwhelming being in the room with it. And you were kind of coming to terms with, like you said, this is actually happening.
Yeah.
But also just being so taken and so admiring of what they're doing here.
Yeah.
Of the production they're putting on, of the chemistry between the band. And I've seen some people who are more encyclopedically tapped into this fandom than we are anymore talk about how happy everyone in the band seemed on this tour compared to the earlier shows in their reunion since 2019. That Gerard seemed like he was going for more of the high notes, that it seemed more high energy and more passionate all around. And I got that from this first song.
Yeah.
And in the back of my head, a little bit, I was thinking, he had a little bit more energy in 2006. But that's not the point. And it's totally missing my takeaway from it, because the takeaway when you watch Gerard Way sing is, holy shit, look at how much energy this guy has.
I know, yeah.
So that coming down 1%.
It's still incredible.
It's still miles past anyone else I've seen live.
It was also just a really interesting feeling because normally when you go to a show, at least for me, I don't like to look at set lists beforehand. I really like to be surprised, and I love the feeling of what song are they going to play next. Even when I saw the Eras tour, I hadn't looked up anything about it because I didn't think I was going to this show, and reading stuff about it made me sad. And then I sort of, because I was like, I'm never going to go see this show, that's going to suck. And then I just had a really great opportunity to buy somebody else's ticket and go. So I did go, and it was great. But so I had no idea what song she was going to play next, what era she was going to move into next. And of course, we got the surprise song. So I loved that feeling of, I have no idea what's going to happen next. And this was the entire opposite, where I know exactly what's going to happen because I know this album back to front. I know which song comes first, second, third, fourth, fifth. And so it wasn't a surprise of what song are they going to play? What I was more wondering is, how is it going to make me feel? How is this going to feel compared to when I listened to the studio version,
Sidebar on the Taylor Swift thing, because that was a slightly similar project. She was pulling from albums throughout her career, but in the same way, it was a retrospective tour in the same way this is.
Yes.
Did you notice, had she changed in some of the songs that maybe she wrote and recorded a decade ago or on the first album? Did you notice a shift there like you did here?
More just,
passage of time, all that?
I mean, just her voice has matured so much. She doesn't sound like a young girl anymore. She sounds like a woman in her 30s with a mature, like, honestly better voice than when she was really young. But also, like, there was more just like a warmth and a nostalgia. Like, one of the actually, I don't know if she played it at my show, but one of the surprise songs she played one time was our song, which is from her first album, and she just plays it on a guitar, and she introduced it as like, this is a song I wrote when I was 15 in my bedroom. And it's like, it's such a cute, sweet song. I adore that song. It's so sweet and cute, but she's just like so happy to be playing it, and it's just like fun, and it like doesn't really apply to her life or how she feels anymore because she's not 15 anymore. But it all these songs that she was playing, like Love Story and like just these older songs from a long time ago, and Enchanted, it was more just like reveling in the nostalgia. But I didn't really think about the passage of time so much as like the remembrance of things that we've loved from the past. It was a different thing.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I think I was mostly just overwhelmed through this song. But the thing I love so much about The Black Parade as an album is the sequencing.
Yes.
It's how beautifully it flows from one song to another, how cohesive it is as an album. There are no skips. Pound for pound, song for song.
Yeah, you do not skip.
This is the most solid album ever recorded, ever assembled.
Yeah.
And you get so much of that live, even though there are some skits and interesting new additions and outros and intros that we'll get to as we run through the set list here. The cut between The End and Dead has always been one of my favorite moments on the album, and Dead was my first favorite song on the album. I think that was the first song I ever heard from this album. So for me, that was kind of a high bar. Then moving into that song was a little scary. As much as it was amazing to hear, it was also, pressure's kind of on.
Of course.
What did you think of the performance of Dead?
Adored it. Yeah. Especially, I appreciated, like you said, they do some interesting little interludes and storytelling in between the songs, but they don't hear. They do that seamless transition. They don't pause in between. They go right from The End into Dead. And I remember, I always go back and forth on how much I'm going to use my phone in a show. Like, am I going to take pictures? Am I going to take videos? Because my instinct is to take a million videos because I want to remember everything. But then, of course, when do you go back and watch your shitty videos you took on your iPhone? Like, never, right? And so I thought, okay, I'm going to be really intentional and only take a few videos, take a few photos, especially the ones where I've got a really great close-up of Gerard on the screen because we're in a baseball field, and so we're at home plate and they're like in the outfield. So they're 1,000 miles away, so I can't see shit. You have to look at the screen. But so I was trying to be intentional, but I thought, I've got to capture the transition from The End into Dead. And so that was like the first video I took. And I was really excited that I took that video because it looks so cool. And it was just so exciting. And everybody's going fucking nuts. And like the strobes are going. And I was really happy with how that felt.
And The End is operatic and big and sweeping and kind of slower.
That's when... Sorry, go ahead.
Dead is such a high energy, fast song.
Yes.
So if you're going to talk about do they still have the energy, the cut between The End is Dead is the first moment where you'll notice it. And I thought the ramp was incredible.
And that's like the first time on the album when the guitar really fucking goes for it, yes. And it's like and like it was so great. It was so great.
Yeah, I was blown away by this.
Yeah.
And moving into This Is How I Disappear. This is such a dense song. Yeah. The sound is so solid. And like you were talking about, the sound was traveling a good ways before it got to us in the stands.
Yeah.
And this wall of sound that they perfected on this album, I think the first time you're slapped in the face with it is in This Is How I Disappear, because it has that ramp up as well. It's reaching that kind of gallop that the song moves at. And then it slows down a bit when Gerard cuts in. But I was as taken with the performance of this as I was with Dead. And I think I can say the same thing about the next song, The Sharpest Lives.
Yeah, The Sharpest Lives was great.
It's kind of 3 heavier, faster songs in a row.
I know.
After The End, which is tough.
It is tough, yeah, because it's boom, boom, boom. I mean, that's why this album is so fucking good. But yeah.
And I think for this kind of first leg of the performance, I was mostly just darting around looking at all the band and seeing how happy they seemed.
Yeah.
They were so thrilled and just goofy. And I mean, they were still in character and serious, but I mean, you could tell that they were having a good time.
Yes, I could sense that too.
In a formal sort of way.
Yeah, and even when like, I mean, those first 4 songs are very like dark and heavy, and like there's not much levity on any of the album, I guess, except for Teenagers, but even then it's pretty dark. But it's like it's so heavy and so much, and they're still having fun through it without like minimizing the severity of the songs, if that makes sense.
But that 3-song stretch of Dead, This Is How I Disappear, and Sharpest Lives, that was proof of concept of like, these guys still got it.
Okay, they got it. Yeah.
But the first test of, okay, we got to hit the benchmark is when they cut into Welcome to the Black Parade.
Yeah.
I have almost never heard, maybe a couple times, because I've been to some pretty cool big shows, but that wasn't meant to sound like it did. But I mean that I've been to, there are some artists who have signature songs. I mean, I talked about going to Sabbath. It's a test when you cut into certain Sabbath songs. If you're hitting the feeling, the energy, the passion, the excitement that everyone, I came to this show for Paranoid. So you have to do Paranoid well.
Right.
Welcome to the Black Parade is one of those moments.
I mean, that's the most anticipated song.
And listening to it again on the YouTube recording, the first note is when most of the people got it.
Yeah.
But hearing the swell of the crowd over the next couple notes on the piano as everyone, you can see it wash over the whole crowd.
Even the half-ass
fans,
song. Like, I know this one. Yeah.
I mean, it was unbelievable. The energy there was striking.
Yeah.
It was like 45,000 people.
Yeah.
Just going nuts. And it was weird because they're performing the album in sequence, so everyone knows what's going to happen and when.
It's like it's a surprise when that song comes on. If you know the album, you know that's next.
But listening to the crowd in the YouTube version, it's the sound of surprise and excitement and delight. And honestly, that's how it felt live.
Yeah, I know.
It felt surprising.
It really did. It was a special feeling. What did you think of the podium thing? He starts the song by standing at the podium.
I wish most of the concert was behind the podium.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting.
I think it anchored him in a cool way.
And he also looked kind of terrified standing there at the podium, which I thought was really interesting.
And he has such a compelling face that I think the more scared and gaunt and freaked out he looks, the more engaging he is to look at.
100%.
So by this point in the show, I think he was totally dialed in.
Yeah.
I loved this. I mean, this was kind of one of those out-of-body experiences.
Yeah.
Watching them do Welcome to the Black Parade was surreal.
It was pretty great.
And then, right when you think, okay, we're in a groove now, we're in this album, we're going for it, then the whole thing changes, and we get the execution.
Oh, that was after that song. Okay,
yes, it was.
Yeah. That was so interesting. What did you think about that?
So I knew about this. I knew about a lot of the stage stuff.
I did know about the execution. I had seen that. Yeah.
I like reading about setlist before I go to shows. I don't know. I want to be dialed in.
That's funny.
So I knew that this was going to happen. And the first however many thousands of people who got to the stadium got these flyers that said yay or nay on either side of them. And then Gerard, in character, in costume, and the whole thing, after Welcome to the Black Parade, said, we're going to do an election or whatever he said.
And then he says, no, an execution.
Right.
It was great.
So they have a bunch of black-bagged political prisoners seemingly within the Draag thing.
Yeah.
And they have a firing squad on the other side in between the band and the dictator. And they count down and the smoke goes up from the guns and everyone, people voted yay first, which, I mean, they're not, it's pre-decided.
Yeah, they're not going to do it because we heard a lot of nays.
Sure.
A lot of people voted no.
But like they've already got it dialed. If you're doing like pyrotechnics and stuff, they've already dialed that in.
Yeah, they're going to do
that's
it.
That's
fine.
Yeah. But yeah, they say yay, they do the execution. One of the guys lives, and that's when we do the car salesman thing.
He wins a car.
Brand new 2009 whatever,
Yeah.
which is interesting, I guess. If I'm talking about this being an extension of the Black Parade era,
right?
2009's closer to that era if you take into account a 3-year world tour.
Yes,
so
I thought that was
works.
an interesting choice instead of doing it in 2025.
Also, we see the nuclear bomb launch later in the show, and Danger Days begins after like a nuclear apocalypse.
Oh,
so
that's true.
This feels like a bridge between albums 3 and 4.
Yeah.
So the next song is "I Don't Love You," which had an extended intro. I think this was my first favorite moment of the show because listening to it all on YouTube, there's a different sound mix in that the iPhone microphone is just capturing and processing the sound differently than your ears do when you're half a mile away from them. In a baseball stadium, that's not really built for this kind of sound.
Of course, yeah. Like, of course it's going to sound different.
At the show, live in person with you, I heard Ray and the instruments much stronger than I did Gerard.
Yes.
And I think I had a much better impression of Gerard's performance after having listened to the YouTube version. But my memory of the show is that I Don't Love You, which is the 6th song here, that was the moment where I felt like, oh, Gerard Way is back. I thought his performance was better on this song than on any of the preceding ones.
Yeah, he was really good on this one. I mean, I really enjoyed this performance. This song, it's hard for me to say that this is like one of my, like the ones I like less on the album because I adore each one. It's like saying it's my least favorite Harry Potter book. Like it's still like the greatest thing ever, right?
To be a millennial.
Yeah, right. I love this song, but it's not one that I like think about or I'm like, I really want to listen to I Don't Love You by, that's not the one I pick out if I want to listen to one or two songs. But I loved this feeling, this experience, because I think, again, it was the crowd. Like this wasn't one of those songs where, everybody's got their, not lighters, but the flashlights on their phones, swaying them in the music. Cause it's that kind of song. It's a bit more sentimental, this song.
Tragic.
Yeah.
Sure.
And it was like so lovely. And Gerard was loving it too. He even like kind of broke character and was like, look at those, it's like being outside. Look at those stars. Like that felt like him and not his Draag character.
I think for the previous songs, so The End, Dead, This Is How We Disappear, Sharpest Lives, and Welcome to the Black Parade, I love those songs. And I loved being in the room with the band doing those songs. But I Don't Love You is the first time that I loved the performance.
Yes, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Totally hit a new level. And I feel like Gerard looked more excited during this song too, and I think he rode the wave of this performance for the next couple songs.
I think so too. This was one of the more euphoric experiences. It was really good.
And like you, I was not expecting that. I was not going into the show thinking this would be a highlight.
I can't wait to see I Don't Love You,
but honestly, that happens every time I go to a live show. I'm always hit sideways by songs I'm not expecting.
Absolutely.
And I will get to this later in the second set, but I think some of these songs work live almost better than they work in the studio version.
I know what you mean.
So after I Don't Love You, and this is maybe for me more than the whole assembled 45,000 person crowd, House of Wolves is one of my other favorite songs on this album.
It's a very good
one. And
it
is so rock and roll. It is so fast and punky and 60s,
punchy,
70s. It's just, and the attitude on this song. And again, Gerard, like, he didn't break character, but he just engaged the audience a little bit more than he was being scared in character. Gerard performing for this dictator at threat of execution.
He got us all to bark.
And brief tangent, because Gerard has done so much work in comics, writing for comics, being in the world of comics before he was doing MCR, I'm sure he's aware of Chainsaw Man being one of the most successful manga of recent times.
Yes,
and obviously,
I'm sure he is. Yeah.
The whole like kind of slightly sexualized bark thing, none of that was invented in the last couple of years, but it was done very well in Chainsaw Man.
Oh, okay.
And that's what it reminded me of.
That's
a little
funny.
bit.
That's funny.
So I really enjoyed that moment.
Yeah.
And going into House of Wolves, stunning.
Yes.
It was great. I think I Don't Love You is still more of a standout for me.
Yes.
But House of Wolves was fantastic.
Yeah, it was
they
really
nailed
great.
it. And again, the fact that Ray has only become more refined, more slick as a musician. This is very much his song.
And that's a very good, it's a very guitar heavy song.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he just slaughtered it. It was fantastic.
He did a great job. That was pretty fun.
And then again, because the album is sequenced in such an interesting and varied way, total gear shift into Cancer.
Ugh, yeah.
And this starts with one of the handlers from Draag coming out. And I think that's where he slaps the shit out of Gerard.
I think that's right. Yeah.
Because he's like on the ground for most of this performance, wasn't he?
I think so.
So Cancer.
Yeah. This is one of the other ones where I cried. Like obviously,
yes,
like
me too.
I mean, every time you hear the song, you want to cry. Like you said earlier, no skips. About half the time I listen to this album, I skip this song.
Really?
Because I'm like, I don't know if I can emotionally do this right now. Like it's a lot. It's a lot.
I think that's part of why I love MCR is the amount of emotion in various flavors.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I think House of Wolves is the most euphoric, upbeat song on the album. And for that to cut straight into Cancer, I think that's the whole shape of the thing.
Yeah, it's a gut punch.
There's a quote from Tony Iommi that I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember it exactly, but he was talking about how everyone loves the heavier, darker songs on the Sabbath with those thick, sludgy riffs.
Yeah.
But his point was those don't work without the higher, gentler songs. Planet Caravan on Paranoid. That gives extra weight to the next heavy Electric Funeral kind of riff. I think this makes House of Wolves work and House of Wolves makes this work.
Yeah.
I think there's a symbiotic relationship between the heavier. In the same way you've got the just shotgun of Dead, This Is How We Disappear in Sharpest Lives, going into the single piano note of Welcome to the Black Parade, and then I Don't Love You. It's about balance.
No, 100%. The album needs this song, and it's perfect in there. I don't skip it because I don't think it belongs. I skip it because it's hard for me to. I mean, this whole album is emotionally exhausting.
Yep.
I said that after we were sort of like coming home, because the entire week leading up to this show, I was only listening to MCR. I listened to the Black Parade, of course, but I listened to everything else too. And I was realizing, like, after having listened to that for a week and then gone to the show and listened to all the music again on the way home, I was like, I'm emotionally exhausted. I kind of can't engage with this for a while. So over the last week, because it's now been a week since we've seen the show, I haven't listened to it at all, except for like yesterday when I was rewatching the YouTube video and re-listening to the second set list just to remind myself. But it's emotionally exhausting, and this song is like, I think, the peak of that.
Yes, you talked about crying the first time at the end. I think there were so many moments throughout the show that were overwhelming, like I said before. And you kind of have these tears of just being overwhelmed, of being overstimulated, of being so excited. And it feels like such a wish fulfilled to be able to go to a show like this so many years after, the band broke up and, I missed the 3-year world tour.
Yeah.
But this song was the most affecting for me. Absolutely. It always is every time I listen to this album. It hasn't lost any of its brutality and effectiveness. And it's because the lyrics are so fucking good.
They are really good lyrics.
It's not just, it's a song about cancer. That's it. Marley and Me is a movie about a dead dog, so it's effective. It's not that simple.
It's not just the subject matter. Yeah.
And it always reminds me of Heart-Shaped Box by Nirvana, which is a slightly lower energy, not in a bad way, but it's a slightly slower song, but it has such rich, fucked up lyrics about this kind of thing.
Yeah.
I wish I could eat your cancer when you turn black.
Oh God.
And then going from that to this, from Soggy from the Chemo, and of all of the emotional parts on this album, the refrain of the hardest part of this is leaving you is just like the energy he brings to that, because it delivered like it is on the studio album and on the live album, it has to sound desperate and strangled and melancholy.
And strained, yeah.
While I'm sure you're getting the rush and fear of performing in front of 45,000 people.
Yeah.
And the same way he kind of went away during I Don't Love You, and it felt like, oh shit, that's this guy I've loved my entire life. That's him right there, and he's doing it as well as he's ever done it. I felt that same energy with Cancer.
I know what you mean. And I thought that there was an interesting thing happening in the crowd too, because often a well-loved song, even if it is really deeply emotional, a crowd wants to sing along with it. I'm thinking, sorry to keep making Taylor Swift comparisons, but it's the best thing I have. There's this great video of her singing, oh my God, it was there. All Too Well. Oh my God. This is before the 10-minute version.
We're going to get copyright claims just for that second.
This is before the 10-minute version has come out. This is before Red, Taylor's version. But many years ago, she's performing this song live for a small crowd on the piano. That song, if you don't know, if you're not in the same crossover of fandom I'm in, it's one of her best songs ever. It's deeply emotional. It's about a relationship that fell apart and is affecting her years later.
It's a great song.
There's a great line in there in the bridge that says, "You call me up again just to break me like a promise." One of her best lines ever. I'll stand by until I die. In this video, in this performance, she's playing it, and everyone's singing along, but there's this one woman in the crowd who I guess was really feeling it, and she is screaming this line alongside Taylor, and Taylor kind of looks up and kind of laughs, and it's a funny moment about fandom, and you're like, oh, this song really deeply affected this person, but it kind of takes away the seriousness of the line, and it kind of ruins it.
Yep.
And it kind of takes you out of it, and it's funny and interesting in a different way, but it's not the feeling of the song anymore. That wasn't happening here. The crowd was singing the fuck along for sure, but there was a different feeling when 45,000 people are yelling and singing, "Baby, I'm just soggy from the chemo." It's different, and the crowd all knew it too, and that's what I'm trying to convey is everybody sort of understood what this song is, and we all love it and have attachments to it, and we're passionate about it, but nobody was sort of minimizing it.
No one. I feel like I'm totally glad you took that kind of sidebar there because it is a tough thing to explain, but for as loud and interactive and wonderfully passionate as the crowd was, there were moments within this song more than any of the other 25 songs where there was a deference and a respect to this is Gerard's moment.
Yeah, versus like in the end when the line is, when I grow up I want to be nothing at all. That's a terribly
everyone
sad
screams
line.
But
everyone was like,
nothing
at all. Like we're all excited.
That's
right?
on merch. Yeah.
Nobody was excited to sing I'm Soggy from the Keynote.
No, that's not on a t-shirt. No.
Exactly. And like it's a testament, I think, to the band and to just their music and their writing and their ability to perform in sort of like the way that suits this song, that like it's a testament that the crowd responded the way that they did. Like it was a really moving experience.
I felt a similar amount of emotion through Mama, which is such we're talking about the Broadway aspect of this part of the show.
I love this song.
Mama is the most dramatic and over the top and produced and goofy, and they made it even more so by adding the opera singer into it.
I loved that bit,
which is part of the Draag thing. She comes out, I believe the character is blind because she's walked out and walked away,
and she's wearing
by the
these glasses. Yeah, I think she's blind.
It's the visual implication.
Yeah.
And there's the whole outro that they added, basically a new verse to the song about the hand me a dagger. It's kind of a Macbeth thing.
A dagger,
yes,
dagger.
Exactly.
That was so good.
And they kind of accordion out the end of this song more than they do really any of the other ones on this album.
Yeah, this one was extended. Yeah, I think Sleep has a much longer intro.
Yes.
But everything else was pretty like by the book. Not much was extended or changed up.
For more lyrics, for more expanding out the song, I loved that this was the one they went with because it is such a performance-heavy song. This is one... Even if the tour didn't have a they're in character type conceit, I feel like Gerard's always in character doing this song.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Yes.
I don't know how you can't be.
And I think I'm thinking about what you said earlier on in our discussion right now about the monkey box. We say monkey. Dancing monkey thing.
Yes.
Of like they're performing for us, like dance monkey dance. The sort of like accordion music feels very in line with that. Of it's for like carnival-y and like
totally
ding 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 ding. You know, and it's like that made sense. And so I think expanding that is in line with that feeling of this is a performance that we're being forced to perform for you. You're watching us. We're freaks in a circus. Let's get this blind lady on stage to sing. And like, I think the choice to extend this song is in line with sort of the thematic direction of this whole first set.
And I think this song sits nicely within current day Gerard's vocal comfort zone really well.
Yeah.
I don't think it's an accident that this is the one that they kind of played with and expanded out because he sounded so good here.
He did sound really, really
and
good.
he got to be as theatrical as he's ever been. But I feel like he hit every beat he was going for here as well.
Yeah, it was fun.
And then you're right, we move into Sleep, which has this big long intro.
Extra long
with
intro.
all the staticky, whispery shit at the beginning of that song, but it's him and there's a weird puppet doll and he's reading a book to it and his hair's all slicked back.
Yeah.
And he's taken off the jacket by this point.
Yeah,
so
he's got these little suspenders on.
He looked great.
He looked great.
Sleep is another one of those, like This Is How I Disappear, maybe even more so. This is one of those wall of sound type songs on this album, especially at the beginning. It's everyone just cranking at full volume. And it was so effective.
Yeah, it was.
I feel like this was one of those moments where the entire band coalesced. It felt like they were all galloping at the same speed in the same direction.
And I like this song because like I've always been interested by the song because it's late on the album, but it's still got so much energy and wall of sound like you're saying. But I don't know, there's something about it, and I don't know if it's in the instrumentation or if it in this performance was the lighting or the choices there, but it felt like it was really, really late at night and I'm kind of trapped in this weird dream. I mean, it makes sense thematically. The song is about night terrors and sleeping and escaping things, but it felt a lot like that. And I thought that was such a cool feeling that none of the other songs achieved. It was cool.
In this performance, this felt like the apex of the album. I think it felt the most yearning and desperate, and to perform, I imagine, it looked and felt the most exhausting.
Yeah.
To the point that when they go into Teenagers, that feels like a slow song. That feels like a break for them to recover.
It feels like a break
from sleep.
Because it's more lighthearted. It's more fun.
It's jaunty. It's airy. It's silly. It's much simpler. It sounds much simpler.
It's musically simpler.
Right.
Yeah, the melody is simpler. Everything about it is much less complex than Sleep.
But you would think, earlier, the slow songs like I Don't Love You or even Cancer, I guess, technically, would be kind of those, let's get some energy back. This is a bit of a down note for us to recover before hitting the harder once again.
Right.
But those both felt like high points.
Yeah.
The first, okay, we need to breathe for a second, was Teenagers.
Yeah.
How strange is that?
Strangely enough. Yeah.
But it worked. I mean, it didn't sound low energy.
No, it was still
just blowing off a little steam.
Yeah, it was like, hey, let's take a break. Let's laugh for a minute because this whole album is so heavy.
And then as we're laughing and relaxing, then we launch the nuclear warheads and we get the whole long intro into Disenchanted, which again should be a slower, more relaxed song. But it has that lyrical intensity.
Yes, you know what's interesting is that in my re-listening of everything in the lead up to this, and then during this performance, I think Disenchanted has become my favorite song on that album.
Really?
It
Why?
is. I don't know. It is just really hitting me. It's such an emotional song, and I think I often overlook it because it's the second to last song, and Famous Last Words is, that's the best song on the album. Obviously, it's such a bombastic finale, and it's such a beautiful, deeply emotional song. But Disenchanted is it starts out with this kind of cheesy guitar at the beginning, and it feels like it's going to be not very serious, but then it becomes so serious and I don't know, just nostalgic and sad.
It's
and
lethal.
It's very lethal.
So if this is becoming your favorite song on the studio album, what did you think of the live performance?
Well, I was really anticipating it at that point because I was like, oh, this is my new favorite now. How is this going to feel? And by golly, it was great. It was great. Did I cry during this one? I might have teared up a little. I was I don't think I recorded much from this because I was just on my phone. I was just watching it and I was just living in it, and it was really special.
In my history with this album, if Dead was my first favorite song and then House of Wolves was my second favorite song, my perennial favorite song is Famous Last Words.
Yeah.
And that was the one, I think, with the most stage production.
Yeah, there was all this great pyro stuff. It was their big finale, right? So they fucking went for it.
So it wasn't just little blasts of fire from the top of the kind of Stonehenge kind of set in the middle. It was kind of a lake of fire at the front, in front of the band, at the edge of the stage, evoking, of course, the music video for Famous Last Words.
Exactly, yeah.
I find this song to be so intense and, again, overwhelming. And it has the yearning that we've admired in previous songs on this album. I find this song to be kind of the whole album in brief.
Yeah,
I think it's in a couple minutes, it runs me through all the feelings, all the highs, all of the emotional exhaustion you talked about before.
Yeah.
I think all of that lives within this song. And the band has always been so good at closing songs on albums. I think Kids From Yesterday is as potent and exhausting and melancholic as this is. But my standards were sky high for this song, and I was left just soaring.
Okay,
by
I was going to say, did it? Because I knew you were going to be really anticipating this one. Did it? So it seems like you really met your expectations.
And during this song, I was aware, okay, this part of the concert's ending.
This is over now. Yeah,
and I don't know if I'll love the second half. It's a totally different thing. Who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah.
But through this melancholic, reflective song, I was thinking, shit, I've been standing here for an hour and I just saw the thing I've been dreaming of.
I know, it was so reflective.
Since 2004.
Yeah.
It perfectly, it almost guided me through the emotional experience that I was going through at the moment.
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
In addition to looking back over the last 20 years of my life.
Right.
It was perfect.
Yeah.
It was perfect.
I really loved the moment near the end of the song in the bridge when it slows down and it's more vocal focused and it's I See You Lying Next to Me. The crowd was...
Oh my God.
Oh, it was a really... I think I did record a lot of this song because I was just... I was like, I gotta capture this. This is so amazing. Everybody was so into this, and that bridge is so good.
Yeah, this one fucks
and
me
then
up. And then, just as you're getting comfortable and approaching this point of closure or resolution with what you've just seen, we go right back into the narrative, the lore, the conceit of the Draag thing, and the idea of resurrecting this thing about death and dancing monkeys and all that with the reprise of the end.
Yes.
And then Gerard gets knifed, or whoever, I don't know if his character has a name. I'm just calling him Gerard still.
I don't think any of them have names.
So he dies during the reprise, and he's on the ground and crawling towards the camera, and it's great. And then the clown, who's been in and out through the whole thing. This is going to sound crazy if you haven't watched it up
I know,
online.
it's really hard to explain.
There's a clown.
He's a creepy. He looks a lot like John Wayne Gacy. Very fun.
That's interesting.
Yep. He's got that just that same like body shape and styling. It's very John Wayne Gacy.
So the clown comes out and mimes the whole performance of Blood.
And it's just like the recorded song. Like,
yes.
Gerard's not like backstage singing it. It's just the song.
And again, kind of furthering the paradox about death and the passage of time. We've just seen Gerard die again in an album about death and dead people. And now we're hearing the voice of him 20 years ago, even though he's dead, and we know he's about to come back to life again in a couple minutes. And we're seeing the clown kind of mimic that and do the dancing monkey reanimated corpse thing that the band has just done and are kind of about to do again. It's all like, in a good way, collapsing in on itself.
Absolutely.
And then he blows himself up.
Yeah, he opens up his jacket and he's got a vest on. Boom, he's dead.
So that's the end.
Yeah.
And then there's this intermission. And then when the band comes out, their makeup's gone, clothes are gone, they're relaxed, they're calm, they're guys from New Jersey, they're talking with accents, they're fine. But in between
I was going to say, can we take a moment to talk about the intermission?
The bridge between, as they move from the big production stage to this little B stage, which is past the mosh pit, I don't know what you call that, past that area, and almost embedded within the crowd. This very tiny stage that they're on, there is a woman named Clarice Jensen, who's a cellist, performing this like 6-minute gorgeous song. It's on all the streaming services.
It's beautiful.
Check
it's
it
called
out.
From A to B.
Exactly. And she performs this in full. Now, you played the cello, so you talk about this experience, because I knew this was going to happen, and I purposely didn't tell you about it.
I played the cello for 8 years growing up, all through like elementary, middle, and high school, and the cello is the best instrument there ever was and ever is. Listen to a single moment of Ramin Djawadi's score from Game of Thrones, and you'll understand. The cello is the perfect instrument. It has so much range. It can be so haunting and so euphoric and so sad. It can be every emotion you need it to be, in ways that no other instrument can achieve. And so this woman is sitting there playing this song, and it's very, I've lost a lot of my like musical jargon, but she's doing a lot of going back and forth between low and high strings, low and high notes, so it sounds like she's overlapping herself, and it feels very like dreamy and like you're underwater, and it was very like sad and moving and dark, and like the lighting is sort of matching this too, because they're sort of making the stage look really dark so they can kind of strike a lot of it and take a lot of it down and be like setting up parts of the other stage, but also like it's very blue and dark, and again it feels like you're kind of underwater, and it's the way that the song is composed, that there's not like a clear melody. It doesn't follow a typical song structure. It just kind of goes and goes and goes and goes, and it feels dreamy, and it doesn't make you feel anxious like in the way that some like non-melodic songs can, but it just feels like this in-between feeling, this in-between space, this in-between realm, and it was so haunting and beautiful.
And I don't believe this was written for this purpose.
Yeah,
I believe it was a
so.
pre-existing song that she had, but it has some of that drama and energy and passion and stage operatic thing that the Black Parade does. And it's a natural bridge.
It is. And I think what it also did was it really encouraged us and allowed us space to reflect on that first part, to reflect on the album, the themes of the album, the emotional roller coaster we'd just been on, reflecting on the performance, reflecting on, what all of that has meant to us, and like what it was building to and what it means to us now after having just finished it. And then like kind of leaves you feeling excited but also like sated at the same time once we go into the second set. And so then the second set just felt like a beautiful sprinkle icing on top, like this extra thing that we get as like a treat, as like a reward for going through the emotional devastation that is going through the Black Parade.
I mean, they were literally letting their hair down. If you look at how Gerard's appearance changed.
Yeah, they've all changed their clothes. They're like regular people now. They're not wearing the, corpse makeup anymore. He's still got his eyeliner on, obviously.
No dictator. But it was time to process and kind of come down to earth.
Yes, because if we had moved straight into, number one, I think you couldn't move straight into a new set because they need to fucking breathe for a second and change their
so
clothes.
Did we.
I mean, every long set, like the Eras tour again. Sorry, but the Eras tour has like a break in between some of the last couple sets where it's sort of a musical interlude and the lights all dark and funny. But like it's like 10 minutes long, so Taylor can like drink some water, take a breath, and change her outfit. And the dancers can get a break too. But so that's what this is. But also like they could have just like they could have done anything else. They didn't have to have this cellist come and perform, but it really encouraged us to reflect.
They also didn't have to do a second set.
Yeah, they didn't. Exactly. They didn't have to do that.
No.
They didn't have to do that at all, but they did. And so we got to process and reflect in this beautiful moment. And then they come out, and it was like such a special, exciting thing.
And the lineup for this part of the show changes each time. There are some songs that have carried over, but I don't think any of them have been in every show so far.
Okay.
I mean, we're not that far into the tour. So
say, what are we, like the third show or something like that?
They did some California shows, and then they did this.
Okay.
And now they've done Jersey.
Yeah.
So the first song that we get during this on the B stage set is Na 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 from Danger Days.
Which is great. And I loved that for me personally, because I think that might have been the first song I listened to after listening to the Black Parade, like 10 years ago.
Yeah,
like
sure.
that was kind of my first non-Black Parade song. I mean, I think I had heard I'm Not Okay when I was a teenager. I'd probably heard Helena, but like that was it. So that was sort of my first, like, okay, what else do you got? And Na 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 was the first thing I heard. So I loved that it was the first song on this set. I thought that was great.
I was so impressed, and we'll get to this later, but there are two songs from Danger Days that they performed during this set, and I think they were the most interesting for me. Not my favorite songs that we heard, neither of them, but I think they were the most enlightening because they really came alive in this live setting.
They did.
And I have felt that way so often. I've gone to a lot of concerts over the years. That was my thing for a long time.
Yeah.
And I was always taken by when a new artist who I saw a bunch of times, whether it's Ty Segall, whether it's Jack White, whether it's Windhand or Sleep, or a lot of, I was in a big metal thing.
You still are.
Oh, I still am. But I was always interested when there was an album from an artist I loved and had seen before, when the new album didn't really work for me.
Yep.
Because when I would see that artist live on that tour, even though I kind of didn't want to, every single time the new album would make way more sense live. The perennial example here is Boarding House Reach, the Jack White solo album that I have had a long and fractured relationship with.
It's his worst album.
But it's not a bad album.
It's his worst album.
I know you feel that way, but I get a lot out of some of those songs.
Yeah.
But hearing it live it made sense. There are songs, the studio versions do nothing for me, and the live versions were transcendent.
I kind of had that experience with Paramore and their latest album, which whose name I can't even remember the name of the album. It didn't work for me at all, that album. But I went to see their tour for that show. One of my really good friends got me tickets for my 30th birthday, and so we went and saw it, and it was great. And I was like, okay, these songs work live. Like, I had a really good time. I still haven't gone back and listened to the album, but
The one with the news on it?
Yeah, the news. I can't remember the name of the album, but it's just not it. But I really enjoyed the live experience because, I mean, part of it is, like I said, Haley's a great performer, but the songs worked in this live setting, and I thought it was way better than whatever they were doing in the studio for that album.
And there is an airiness to the Danger Days songs. I feel like the setting of that album and the characters being in a desert really works live. I feel like you kind of feel the landscape and the space.
It feels expansive.
Exactly. Thank you. That's a perfect way to say it. And I loved how punchy the vocal was here, where it feels like we've just gone through an emotional thing. Now we're relaxing, and there's this kind of gang vocal with the na 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 na, and everyone's involved, and it's moving so fast, and it's like a runaway train, but it's a big party celebration song.
Yes, it was like, okay, we're gonna get into like, this is gonna be the fun part now. We're gonna like get into it and have a really good time. The Paramore album is called This Is Why. It was gonna bother me. Sorry.
Okay, thank you.
But anyway, yeah. So I loved this as an introduction.
Loved it.
It was perfect.
And I feel like I enjoy Danger Days more than a portion of the fan base.
Yeah, you do.
So maybe just because I got to be around while it was coming out, and I was just a true believer at that point. So
yeah,
I was
you were like, I'll
in.
take anything they give me.
I had the jacket, the whole thing.
Yeah. I mean, I was wearing a Na 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 t-shirt. That was my outfit. It was your t-shirt, but I was wearing it.
And I was slightly worried when they cut into Na 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 that, okay, we're just going to do kind of the greatest hits.
Right. which like would have been fine, but it's like that's not as interesting.
But I'm glad they didn't do that, because the
Yes.
next song they played, we got a song from Bullets from their first album.
It was so cute the way Gerard goes, "This song is from the first record." He's like being so cheeky.
He was so goofy during the B set.
His crowd work was so good in this. I really enjoyed it. I was like, oh, he's just a dork. Like he's just this like incredibly talented, brilliant artist, but he's just a dork, and I loved that.
Yes, I know, because he would be so goofy and relaxed in between songs, and then he would cut in. It's like, oh, this guy's a world-class performer.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it was really fun to watch that.
So Our Lady of Sorrows from Bullets,
It was
which
so fun.
has some of the most crunchy, violent breakdowns of any of the songs on that album.
The crowd went nuts when he said this is from the first record.
Nuts.
They were like, yeah, like we had some true fans in our audience.
I think we had 45,000 true fans.
Yeah.
Given the ticket price, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I was gonna say like emos in Texas, like we're big down here. There are a lot of us down here.
I've always said that. It's
Yeah.
a big thing. This performance was so spirited. I don't think I saw Frank smile bigger than he did during this.
Yeah, it was great.
And I, as much as I loved this tour, getting to see the Black Parade in full, I would equally love a tour doing all of Danger Days, doing all of Three Chairs, or doing all of Bullets. Because
Yeah,
there's
that would be
such
fun.
passion, and the eras are so distinct and varied. This was just startling. I felt like this song could have gone for 20 minutes and everyone would have still been locked in.
You could see them having a really good time, as were all of us. It was great.
And that was kind of like revving the engine of like, oh, this is a full other set. This isn't a 3-song encore. We're going. And then we go back to Danger Days for Planetary Go.
That was so fun.
Again, a lot of air, a lot of atmosphere. And that one starts with the...
Yeah,
that's
so
like pumped
immediately
through the system.
everyone lost their mind. Yeah.
But that was such a boppy, dancey, poppy, bubbly, fun song.
It's so fun. Yeah, I mean, I think that was like, well, the first half of this set was pure fun. Like even as heavy and intense as that song from the first album is, it was all about like, we're gonna have a good time now. We're gonna let loose.
Yes.
And sort of like decompress from the severity that was the Black Parade.
And as intense and heavy and dark as a lot of their songs are, particularly the earlier you go in their career. And I've always said this about metal, and I think MCR drifts into metal territory.
Yeah, it does.
My favorite metal, and it has nothing to do with how heavy it is or Cookie Monster the vocal is, I think the best metal is it feels euphoric.
Yeah.
And I felt that kind of joy from Our Lady of Sorrows, but particularly from Planetary Go, which has never been one of my favorite songs, but Gerard's basically rapping through this song.
Yeah.
And he's spitting half of these lyrics, and it is so exciting. It was so fun. You could feel the band just kind of... It almost felt like they were jamming. And everything was choreographed and perfect, but it felt like they were just jamming and rehearsing.
And he introed the song as, I feel like dancing. Do you feel like dancing? And so it was just like so charming and fun. Yeah, I had a really good time with this song.
And then we cut into what I think was your highlight of the show, which was I'm Not Okay.
It wasn't my highlight, but
this was the one... I'm sorry,
thrilled.
what I mean is before the show, we said to each other, what's the one song you'd love to hear in the second set? And you said I'm Not Okay.
Yeah, because that is actually the song, apart from Welcome to the Black Parade, it's a song I have the longest history with. I knew that song in high school. I think I said to you it was the first time I'd heard the word fuck. Like it was monumental for me.
A formative moment for you.
It was, and it's so encapsulates just the rage and angst of being a teenager.
Impotence. Sure.
Yeah, and it's like so it's perfect for like this genre because it's so much fun and it's so goofy. It's also so serious and sad at the same time. I really enjoyed this. I was like thrilled the second it started playing.
They didn't miss a beat on this song. And this is even older than Black Parade. Then we go into what was one of my highlights of the whole show. And this one they have performed a few times already on this tour, to the point that one of the first shows they had the Smashing Pumpkins come out and perform it with them.
Oh, cool.
Because this is a cover of a Smashing Pumpkins song called Bullet with Butterfly Wings.
I really liked this. This was fun.
What we're getting into right now is the 2-song highlight of the whole concert for me.
Oh, okay.
This song has such rage. I mean, rage is like one of the words he says the most during the song.
Yeah.
Despite all my rage, I'm still just a rat in a cage. And it was so rabid and feral. And there were moments where he would build up that line over and over and then break for a second and scream the word cage. And Gerard's screams have always been so gorgeous for me.
He's a good screamer.
There's such texture to them.
Mm-hmm.
And he did some of that during Black Parade, but I think you were right saying he had to pull a couple punches so he could do 20 more songs.
I think so. Yeah.
But he didn't have to last that much longer after this.
So he let loose.
This was the most unhinged song, I think, of the whole set.
Yeah.
And it was euphoric.
Mm-hmm.
And there was such a release, I feel like, through the whole crowd, because I imagine most people who were there hadn't heard this song before. It's not an MCR song.
I got the sense that a lot of people did know this song.
I think they knew it from the recent shows, but I'm saying they don't have a 20-year history with it.
Oh, sure. Yeah. But like, oh, yeah, I know that song.
But there's enough repetition in the lines and in the chorus that by the end, everyone was on the same page.
Yeah.
I feel like I was riding this tidal wave through this song. If you haven't heard it, go check it out. I looped it for like an hour the other day.
Yeah, it's a great song.
It's stunning.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
And I think his vocal's better than Billy Corgan's, but that's a different discussion.
Yeah.
So that is kind of the heaviest, angriest, grungiest sort of song that they do here. And then they move into a song from Conventional Weapons, which I remember having such a conflicted experience with because my favorite band was breaking up.
Yeah.
But I was getting all this new music from them, so I was grateful and sad.
Yeah, it's a bittersweet thing, yeah.
It was that whole era I remember feeling so contradictory and nightmarish as a fan. And some of those songs like Kiss the Ring, I've loved that, and I play that in the car regularly.
Yeah, it's a good one.
But I don't play many other songs from Conventional Weapons.
No, and this was one that I'm least familiar with those songs, and none of them had really stood out to me all that much.
And this was slower and quieter and more yearning, and much, maybe of all the 25 songs, this one was the most dependent on the vocal.
I was gonna say, this is The World Is Ugly, right?
This is The World Is Ugly. This was my other favorite song of this set.
I think this was my favorite song of the entire show. Like, I think because, like you were saying, it transformed the song for me. I've never really thought about the song all that much. Never really, I never disliked it, but it's not a song I think about. It's not a song I reach for. It's not a song that I love to listen to. But there was something about his performance of this that felt a lot like I Don't Love You from the Black Parade set. The crowd was really into it. It's a very sweet and sentimental song, and maybe that's why I don't think about it very much, because I think more of Black Parade as being like intense and heavy, but this is lighter, but it felt so I don't know, it just felt really special and
devastating.
Yeah, it really
hopeful.
was. Yes, and it was nice to have that after having so much turmoil in the first hour of the show.
And it's not just that these last two songs that we've talked about are my favorites of the show. It's that they're my favorite because they come in this sequence where you get the heaviest screaming about rats in cages and doing full screeching, losing his marbles, and then you go from that into World Is Ugly, which is the most passionate and hopeful and delicate and heartbreaking and aching song of the night. And it's those two together. That they're both this release, this euphoria, this experience of life and heartbreak and passion.
And I think
unbelievable.
After this performance, I think apart from anything on Black Parade, this has become my favorite MCR song.
It is. I think that's my takeaway too, is that this one shot up the ranking for me.
I've listened to it a bunch since then. Like, it's been playing in my head over and over. Like, it's a really good song, and I feel awful that I didn't really pay attention to it before.
But this is the magic of live performance.
I know.
Because when you think about loving this song, I imagine you think about the live version.
Yes,
because that's where it clicked for you.
That's what I'm always going to think about now. And this was a good feeling.
This is the tour debut for this song. And that was magical, being there for that.
It was really good.
When we talked before the show and said, hey, if you could pick one song that they'd perform during the second set, what would it be? You said, I'm Not Okay.
Yeah.
And I said, Thank You for the Venom.
And they played Thank You for the fucking Venom, brother. It was so good.
And they extended that outro too, just to jam again. And I was amazed because you can hear such strain and texture and gravel on Gerard's vocal in the Three Cheers era.
Yeah.
I imagine he was a little less refined, maybe hadn't done the vocal coaching that even to this day he continues to do. So I didn't know if the Three Cheers songs would feel like that anymore, how they would change over the years.
Yeah.
But I thought he locked in with both Three Cheers songs.
I mean,
2 or 3 that we get.
Everybody was solid on this song. The guitar sounded so good.
Yeah,
like everything about this
felt like a metal
performance
show again.
was so good.
Yeah, no, this was startling. It was everything I could have wanted. And after that, it was just gravy.
I was gonna say, and coming after The World Is Ugly,
yes,
was so perfect because you're like in this like euphoric state and you feel like crying, and then you've got this like, it's nostalgic and heavy, and it was really good.
And then we get another tour debut, which is dedicated to Frank's son.
Yeah.
And this is a B-side from Black Parade. And there are a couple of those that were officially released, and then a couple that we have like rough demos or mixes of.
Oh, okay.
But this one is fully produced and just wasn't on the album.
Yeah.
And this is Kill All Your Friends.
And this is my favorite of those B-sides.
Totally.
And that was... it was so much fun. I was so thrilled when they played this. I really didn't think they were going to play any Black Parade B-sides. I don't know why. I guess I just thought like...
Because we're doing so much of that album.
If they're going to play the whole album, why would they bother with B-sides? And like, I was so glad they played it. It was so fun. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Yeah. This was... I mean, I don't have that much to say about the song. I just loved the performance of it.
The crowd work was great. At this point in the show, so like earlier in the show during the Black Parade set, all the stuff you saw on the screens was up high was the Dictator whole time. And then the other screens were like close-ups of the band, Gerard and the band. But in the second set, they were doing a lot of shots of the crowd because the Dictator was no longer there. So the up high screens were the band. And then the lower screens were sometimes Gerard, but often it was the crowd. And so we were zooming in on the people down in the pit who were like singing along, and you could see all their amazing outfits. And like, that was really, really fun. And I remember that being really present in this song in particular. People were singing along and having a really good time.
And it was all black and white. And this is the kind, I mean, I guess technically it's a deep cut. I don't know. It's on a B-side EP, but I guess it's more of a deep cut than songs on the full album.
Sure, but people knew it.
Totally.
Yeah.
And yeah, I loved this as a way to kind of supplement. I mean, we're almost wrapping up the show here. We have 2 songs after this. I like the touch point of kind of coming back to the Black Parade thing one last time.
Yeah, I liked that too.
It felt like a kind of a second farewell to those songs.
Yeah.
But again, out of character, without the Draag Conceit, with their hair down, kind of seeing if these guys were just these guys in a club, how would this sound? And the answer is
amazing,
still fantastic.
Yeah.
The first set wasn't great because of the pyro. It was great because of these artists.
Exactly.
And it was equally great here without all of that kind of finery and production. And then we move into Helena.
Thrills.
Again, crowd losing their minds.
Losing their goddamn minds.
Next to Welcome to the Black Parade, this is the most crazy the crowd went.
Yeah, like understandably, because this is the song. Yeah, absolutely.
And it starts
really
so like rattling and spooky. Yeah. And then it goes so quick and gets so heavy, and it has that wistful riding into the sunset. Feels like the end of an album. Totally could have been the end of the concert.
I know. Yeah, it really could have.
But yeah, this was stunning as well. I think this is one of the most Black Parade-y songs on 3 Cheers.
Yes.
So it kind of worked after Kill All Your Friends.
Yes, absolutely.
And for the last song, we get another curveball. And this is rounding out us getting the most varied show on the tour. We get a song from the Paper Kingdom, the scrapped album that...
The lost album.
was falling apart when the band broke up. And this is The War Beneath the Rain that they performed for the first time ever the show previously in California.
Yes.
Because their their late producer's family was in the crowd. So they performed this because they're working on it with him and dedicated it to the family. I and most other people assumed that was a one-off, that was a way of paying tribute to this collaborator. And the fact that we got it again without a shout out, like it was just, I mean, obviously that was still in the air.
Right.
But we got it as,
here's another song. Yeah.
As the closer for the show. I mean, this is like the walk-off home run.
Right.
And we were in a baseball field.
Right.
So yeah, this was a song, obviously people, if they've heard it, they've heard a grainy YouTube version from a couple weeks before, but they didn't have the history and the studio comparison to think about.
That's true.
So this
is the only song that's like that, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, this felt as new as any of them could.
Because even the Smashing Pumpkins cover, you can just listen to the original. Yeah.
And because of that, there was the least amount of singing along, which again puts the most amount of spotlight
pressure
on the band. What did you think about this
song?
song?
I really enjoyed it. It's a song I don't know, so that was like, but it was really exciting to hear. And I didn't know that this was I didn't know that about this song from the LA show at the time. You told me about it later. So I didn't have that built in as part of my experience, but I thought it was really great. I was having a great time. I was like, I don't know this song, but I'm loving it. And I was so happy. I have a question for you. I forgot to look into this. They played their next show last night in Jersey. Did they play this song there?
No, they didn't. I checked before we started recording.
Interesting. Because we were saying if they play it again, that might be sort of confirmation that there's something going on with that lost album.
I mean, playing it twice is something.
Sure.
I think our show was confirmation that something's afoot.
I'll be curious to see if they play... I mean, did they play anything else from Paper Kingdom last night? Okay, I didn't think so. But
there's one other song that was leaked called Witch.
Okay.
But there are no other full songs out there in any form, I don't believe, from Paper Kingdom. I might be wrong. I don't think I am, but feel free to leave it in the comments if I am.
Please. I'd be curious to see what more they do with this as the tour progresses, but... Wow. This was
unbelievable show.
Just such a good show. I thought they were going to come out for an encore. They didn't do much of a bow. They
did a whole second set.
No, I know, but I'm saying, which was amazing. But like after this song, they didn't do a full bow. They just kind of left the stage. So I thought, we're going to get an encore, and then we didn't. So that was not disappointing, but surprising. But it's fine.
Part of me
they had earned. Well, that's why I was surprised. I was like, are they going to do an encore? That's weird. Like, because they didn't do a proper exit. They deserved more applause and adoration and appreciation at the end. And I was sad that they just kind of left.
They got a 90-minute podcast for their troubles.
Well, that's true. God, this was such a good experience.
Something you and I talked about a couple days ago, pardon the pun, but the elephant in the room.
How is this a pun?
I'm getting that.
Oh, sorry.
The elephant in the room when I'm seeing any sort of live musical performance is the greatest musical performer of our time, who's also the person I've seen live the most.
Yes, Mr. Jack White, who has an album called Elephant, if you don't know.
Thank you. Yeah, that's the White Stripes
I was like,
album.
I gotta make this. I gotta connect these dots for you.
How was he kind of in your head during this show?
Well, okay. So let me say again, Gerard is incredible. He was such a good performer. He's a legend. He's a genius. He's perfect. But I've seen Jack so much that I think I take Jack for granted, because after seeing this show, I was like, damn, Jack White's a good performer. And it's not that Gerard isn't, because he's fantastic.
Of course.
But Jack White, who's older than Gerard and is also playing a guitar while singing, is just the best.
And he's not just playing a guitar.
No, he's playing a guitar. Mr. Johnny Guitar.
We did a Patreon episode a couple months ago because we saw Jack do a pop-up show in Austin for his surprise release No Name album. And then we saw back-to-back nights in Austin on the full tour.
The official tour, yeah.
And the level of shredding, the level of performance, and no stage production. Just some blue lights.
Just some blue lights, yeah.
And again, he's playing the guitar at a level hitherto unimagined.
He's got
while singing
such presence. And one thing I think I said to you one time was, even when Jack sounds bad, like when his vocals don't sound particularly like technically perfected, he still sounds so good. Like he's got such a unique voice. Like his and Gerard Way's voices are completely different, and it's not fair to compare them because they're doing totally different things. Gerard is hitting these like operatic, theatrical, high, like euphoric levels of vocal excellence, and he's so good. Jack is doing an entirely different thing. But the thing that he's doing is so good, and even when he sounds like shit, he sounds incredible. Versus like there were moments in this My Chemical Romance show where Gerard didn't sound his best. He never sounded bad. Like he sounds great. He's incredible. But you can tell when he's like faltering or he's not reaching what he could reach. You don't ever feel like that with Jack. Every time he does something different than what he does in the studio or what you've seen him do in the past, it feels like an intentional choice, and it's just artistically interesting. The
more yowling and gravelly he gets, I think the happier I become.
And instead of singing, he kind of just goes, wah, wah, wah. Like, it sounds so good.
I smile like a madman watching him perform. Yeah. It is unimpeachable.
But again, it's not fair to compare my experiences seeing these two artists live because they're totally different experiences. But
they're performing a lot of songs from 20 years ago.
Yeah.
In this high-octane, die-hard, fan-filled performance. I mean, the buzz you hear in the crowd and that surprise that we talked about for Welcome to the Black Parade, Compare that to what we heard in the crowd every time you've seen him cut into Seven Nation Army at the end of a set.
Everyone loses their goddamn mind.
It's a similar thing.
It's the same kind of thing.
I think you can talk about them in the same conversation.
Yeah. It's just hard because they're achieving different things. I don't feel nearly as many emotional highs in seeing Jack as I do seeing My Chemical Romance, because the music is just different. It's just a different thing. But like, one of my takeaways was, wow, Jack White's a really good performer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is really interesting.
But it's an appreciation. It's not a comparison thing. I think you're just saying you appreciate the magic of live musical performances and you get more of a rich understanding of the thing you already loved. There's no negative here. This is not throwing shade at anyone.
No, absolutely not. Yeah, no. So that was a really interesting takeaway that I didn't expect to be thinking about at all, but it was definitely there. Because I've seen Jack White more than I've seen anybody else. I've seen him...
Welcome.
4 times now, and you've seen him like 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen anybody perform 4 times, like ever. I've seen Paramore twice. Everybody else has just been 1 time. So like, that's crazy. So yeah, that was a really interesting takeaway.
Yeah. I wanted to throw a button.
I think it's interesting to think about that. Yeah. No, this show is so good. This show is so good. And now I truly am emotionally exhausted, and I think I have to just listen to like
a little detox,
boring ass music for a couple weeks
Taylor
so I can fuck you. So I can relax. But yeah.
Just a joke. I like Taylor as well.
I know you do. As should everybody.
Yeah,
there's a Taylor Swift song for every person. But
I'm glad we talked about this show because it was such a full and complete experience for both of us.
And it was so hard not to talk about it in the last week because we wanted to talk about it, but we couldn't.
And I wish them all the success in the world. I can't wait to see the videos, the fan videos in the crowd from the rest of this tour.
Me too.
I mean, even if they never release any more studio music, I will still have the most love and respect for this band.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad I got to kind of land the plane, complete the circle, whatever the metaphor you want. I loved getting to see them live.
Me
and
too.
The fact that they performed my favorite album in full is such an unbelievable cherry on top.
I know. What a like bucket list item to check off.
This is... okay. You said check off there? Okay.
To check... I don't understand.
You
check it off. Oh, sorry. To check off,
yes,
friends and family.
Anton Chekhov. Yeah, this was just almost at a loss for words, even talking about it and remembering it and watching it on YouTube because it was so affecting. And this is just the high point for art.
Yep, this is it.
The feelings we got from this show, the before and after, the ritual of driving there and driving back and reflecting on it and listening to this music, of maturing and growing with some of these songs for decades. I mean, this is what it's all about. You get more insight into your own life. You get a richer appreciation for all art across every imaginable medium. This is why we do this.
Absolutely.
This is why we devote so much time to this and try to do this show and talk to you guys, and I love the conversation in the comments.
I was going to say 100%. Please, did you see this show? Were you at this show with us? You might have been. There were a lot of fucking people there.
Do you have tickets to a future show?
Yeah. Did you see them when they did their original Black Parade tour? What was that like? Yes. What's your experience and history with My Chemical Romance? What do you think about this? Like anything we've talked about.
What are your theories about the Draag thing and their new world building?
I know there are so many videos on YouTube like theorizing about what this shit means. I'd love to hear your ideas.
Is there lore we're missing about Paper Kingdom?
Yeah,
Please fill us in.
Please do. Yeah, I'm sure there are bigger freaks than us out there, and I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Complimentary.
Complimentary, of course. Yeah. Awesome. This has been so much fun. Thank you for listening to one of our longer episodes. We don't usually go this long anymore, but it's
kind of fun though.
It is kind of fun.
As much as I like the YouTube thing, we are a podcast.
Yeah, I mean,
and that means long ass episodes.
And this was warranted. Like we had to go song by song. We couldn't just be like, yeah, it was fun. I loved it. Okay, bye. Like we had to fucking talk about it. So thank you very much for listening to the end. We'll catch you. Oh, plugs. Sorry, plugs. We have a Patreon. If you want to support the show, we talked about those Jack White shows over on the Patreon. A lot of our like musical stuff we talk about over on the Patreon.
We've talked about Taylor Swift in some of our Breakfast Buffet episodes, which is our roundup series. And a couple of weeks ago, we did a probably 40-minute discussion about the death of the artist and how a musical artist specifically dying changes your relationship with their music, and that was revolving around Ozzy Osbourne. So we hit on a lot of those themes today. If you want to hear us talk about that, that's probably the most personal thing I've ever said into a microphone. So
sure,
check that out. That was a really meaty discussion.
Yeah, that was part of our Breakfast Buffet series, which is like a roundup where we talk about lots of things together. And in that particular episode, we talked about Ozzy and the death of the artist. We talked about other things too. Yeah, you can find all kinds of things over there. Other ways to support us is just by liking and subscribing and clicking all the buttons and doing that kind of thing. That's the easiest thing. But the very, very best way to support us is by checking out Cam's latest book, Lemon Tarts and Spades, which is a light sci-fi dark cancer comedy. A lot of the themes sort of carry over from the Black Parade into this book. It is so much fun. It's hilarious. It's devastating. It's scary. It's exciting. It's a real joy. You can read it as a regular book, or you can check out the fully produced audio drama, which is a really special experience if you love listening to things in your ears, which I assume you do if you're listening to this episode. Yeah, you can check that out below. Thank you very much for your support. Thank you for listening to this episode. We'll catch you here in just a few days with another brand new episode.